Hi, I'm Dan Dawson here with Robert Pintacsi of St. Romedius. You have read my newsletter and the about the video, and so here we are. We've got 3 St. Romedius wines to taste, and Robert is going to talk us through them, and I'm going to taste them. Okay. What are we going to start with, Robert?
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your tasting here. Let's start with my 2019 dry Muscat Canelli.
Alrighty.
So yeah, this guy right here.
Oh, you have one too. Excellent.
I have one too. I have a lot of these.
I only have one. I drank the rest. All right, and here it is on our shared screen on Simply Corked. Here is the dry Muscat Canelli as well. $20.99 a bottle. All right, what do you have to say?
All right, so yeah, this is our 2019 Muscat Canelli. It's our second vintage making a dry Muscat Canelli out of this vineyard. The vineyard is located in Contra Costa County, just around the Brentwood area. So it's very sandy soil. It's organically farmed. And when we bring in the fruit, we crush the fruit and let it sit on the skins for 24 hours before we press it. We feel that gives it, extracts a lot of really nice components. And then we ferment the wine in neutral barrels with native yeast, native fermentation. And it ends up just being this really fun, fruity, refreshing wine that's perfect for the hot weather we get basically from May until October.
It's 10% alcohol, right?
Yeah, this one we brought it in earlier than we did the year before. We're kind of still playing with the vineyard. So this year we brought it in at barely 18 bricks, and it ended up at 10% alcohol, but fully dry. Mm-hmm. So I find it to be a perfect wine when you aren't looking to, it's like you still have things to do that day. You don't want to only have a glass of wine.
Yeah, brunch wine.
Yeah, definitely a brunch wine. We use this as like our breakfast brunch wine. We take, it's perfect for that kind of situation.
Yeah. And so early pick, 18% bricks, 10% alcohol is also going to mean high acidity, right?
It's high. It's higher than, say, you're like a Napa Valley Chardonnay. That has a little more body, a little softer on the palate. But it's not as high as a lot of these new age wines that have they're pretty much like biting into a lemon. So you don't get that. You do get that nice juiciness, the mouth-watering character that you would from some kind of citrus fruit, but it's more like biting into a tangerine or an orange versus straight up a lemon.
I get orange. I do get lemon. I have to say, it's not biting into the lemon.
Right. It's like lemon zest or pit.
But I'm getting the lemon. Maybe I'm biting into the Meyer lemon a little bit, but not the Eureka lemon.
Right. Exactly.
So even though we've talked all about this early pick, low sugar, fermented completely dry, some people watching this are still going to be saying, "Oh, Muscat sweet."
Right.
We're still thinking Muscat sweet. Let's just say, take what you know of the sweet style of Muscat and go 180 degrees for this wine. This wine is unmistakably dry.
Exactly. No, it's if you look at the lab analysis, it has 0.0 grams per liter of sugar. There's no sugar left in this wine.
If it could be negative, it would be.
Exactly. So, which is great. We really don't we don't dislike sweet wines, but they have their place and time. And in most cases, it's not the right place and time. Simple. I used to be the assistant winemaker at Dolce Winery, and that's an incredible late harvest botrytized wine. But there's only so many situations where that is appropriate. This wine I find is just perfect has just like a cocktail wine basically. Super
cocktail
dry
wine.
And
yeah, fantastic. Really floral. Yeah, really floral, wildflowers, citrus blossoms. And then citrus galore in there too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we got a little promotion going on for August. We'll tell you about it in a bit. Sort of tipping you off like right here. But This is $20.99, almost $21. All right. So what do you want to taste next?
So let's do the Tokai Friulano. That's
Tokai
this guy.
Friulano.
Blue label.
You got it. Okay. Tokai
So yeah.
Friulano.
So yeah,
What do you have
that's
to say?
this is also organically farmed. Our whole mission is to try to source as cleanly farmed fruit as we can. So organic is our goal. Sustainable is kind of our minimum criteria. But yeah, so this is organically farmed. This doesn't come from Contra Costa County. This comes from El Dorado County, just outside of Placerville. So if anyone's familiar with that area along Highway 50, the area is called Camino, and it's also known for it's called Apple Hill. It's full of apple orchards.
I love it up there.
Going up there in the fall is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So
on the way to South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, on the way to South Lake Tahoe, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Which made going to sample this vineyard during the summer, a perfect excuse to be like, why don't we just go a little farther? So
there go the profits.
Business expense, right? So
yeah, you didn't gamble, did you?
No. So yeah, this is organically farmed, a steep vineyard. It's pretty rugged. You can get in there with a tractor, but it's not easy. And it's just beautifully farmed. It's a relatively young vineyard. I believe this might be the third or fourth vintage out of that vineyard. So this is our first time working with it. This the same thing as the Muscat. We ferment this with native fermentation, no added yeasts, no added nutrients or anything, and we fermented it in neutral oak barrels. We just find that you can get the truer expression of the vineyard and the variety that way. We have nothing against new oak, but on certain wines that are relatively delicate on the nose, we want to just see what the wine has to offer.
Yep. So I love about this. What I love about this wine is the freshness to it, but then the texture as well. And so it an acidity and a lightness to it, like Sauvignon Blanc for a variety that people are familiar with, but then more texture of some Chardonnays as well. There's a creaminess to it that just comes from the grape and then from the winemaking as well. So there's some neutral oak on it, but it's not oaky. It just adds texture, right?
Right. And so what we do with almost all of our white wines is that we don't rack the wine off the fermentation lees. So all the sediment that falls to the bottom of the barrel, all the yeast ends up there and it ages on it. And sometimes we stir it in or sometimes we just let it sit. But we leave it there until we take the wine out of barrel for bottling. And that has the tendency to add some texture and some body to a wine.
Right.
So all our white wines are done that same way. No racking, stays on the gross lees. And we find that, there's a freshness to this wine, but it definitely has a nice presence on the palate, more than just some fruit and acid. It kind of lingers. And I get like white peach and a little bit of like green Bartlett pear on this wine. And definitely a lot of citrus as well. More on the lemon versus orange kind of citrus. But I find this to be the most food-friendly of the three new releases.
Yes.
Definitely. The Muscat is great, but you don't want to pair that with like subtle flavors like a poached salmon or something. But this wine definitely can do that.
Yeah, you could go grilled veggie plate. You could go oily fish. You could go white meats very easily. If you are doing a delicate preparation of red meats, it could certainly work.
Right. Yeah, like most recently we made some really nice pork loin. It went great with that, and a lot of different various it's summertime, so I do a lot of like roasted or grilled chicken with grilled vegetable, and it's fantastic in that setting.
Yep.
And as by itself, it's kind of it's like a cocktail wine. My biggest issue with this wine is that when we open it, it tends like there's nothing left over for the next day, which I try to do. I try to be responsible.
Maybe when you have 3 young kids, you can make it last longer. But
yeah, exactly.
My only question is, what do you drink after you finish this bottle?
Right, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
it depends on
My other question is, why didn't you charge more for this? $23. It's a really fantastic value. I just think it's great.
Right. Well, my wife sometimes asks me that question too. So I really want our prices to be very approachable. We never want to be the brand or the winery that is like out of reach for somebody. I'd rather, we're kind of new to the game. We don't want to lock anybody out of trying our wines. We want it to be accessible to almost everybody. Anybody who's like interested in wine, right? It's not going to.
Right. Hook them, and then upcharge them later once they're addicted.
We'll see. I got to keep making good wine for that. So the next one, we got the rosé.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the rosé Sangiovese. Excuse me, the wind on my patio almost blew my phone down. So I was really excited to make this. This is our first rosé since starting the label. Mm-hmm. I found this fruit. This is from the Lodi area, but within Lodi, it's an area called Clements Hills, and it's eastern Lodi, and I kind of call it the foothills of the foothills. It's a lot of people think of Lodi as very flat and like basically part of the delta, but this area there's rolling hills already. It's right along the Macomb River, just north of it, and it's a very picturesque kind of place. And just beyond it is Comanche Reservoir, and you start really getting into the foothills within about a half an hour's drive. Mm-hmm. So this is a certified sustainable vineyard. It's 100% Sangiovese, and this one we whole cluster pressed, and then we fermented it in a stainless steel tank instead of barrels. And then once it was fermented and confirmed to be completely dry, we put it down and we aged it in neutral barrels. So it retained a lot of freshness by being in the tank, and versus starting fermentation in barrel. So this is a really bright kind of almost not bubbly in the sense of carbonated, but I find it like bubbly, kind of like someone's personality. Really just bright and fruity. It has some good acid, so it holds up to foods. We've paired this with oysters. It's done really nicely with that. And I get like a Jolly Rancher, like watermelon Jolly Rancher on it. It's all kind of all over the place with that, but in a really fun way.
Yeah, for me, this being a Sangiovese rosé, and it's not my first experience with rosés made out of Sangiovese, but the other are Italian. But something that is similar with this wine and the others I've had is it seems to give a more brooding, earthy component to it on the back end of the palate for me. Mm-hmm. So where Grenache rosés are great, Syrah rosés, Pinot Noir rosés are all great, and they all have their unique characteristics. The unique characteristic about ones like this is a Indian spice, a musky quality to it on the back end, which just makes it more serious. I mean, you do think of cherry with Sangiovese, and I do get it, especially on the front end. But when we're talking about one rosé of the million rosés out there, like what makes this one unique, there's something about the depth about this one that makes it particularly intriguing to me. And also, something about this wine is I made the mistake on my second bottle. This is the third bottle of this that I've had, is I served it too cold. So it was in the refrigerator. It was probably like 48 degrees. I'm sorry, it's probably like 45 degrees, too cold, and it wasn't singing. So this is between 55 and 58 degrees right now, I think, and it's great. And definitely all the nuance as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's the physics and the chemistry behind it totally makes sense. The colder something is, the less volatile all the compounds are there. So you're only going to be tasting what you can literally put your tongue to, your palate to. But as things warm up, it starts volatilizing, and the aromas truly come out. So yeah, you definitely don't want to serve this wine or any wine, I guess, too cold.
Anyway, but something about this wine where it was really a big difference, more so than a lot of other wines I found.
Right. And I haven't, I guess, I haven't actually picked up on that on this wine just because my wines are always stored in the same fridge, right? And I haven't really put it in places, so I haven't noticed. But that's really cool. I'm gonna actually test that out. I'm gonna store
Why
it.
don't you make a frosé out of it and see what you think?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Not gonna be bad, that's for sure.
Okay, so $20.99 for the Sangiovese. And I just want to point out two wines that are currently on Simply Corked. There's the white blend and the red blend. And you can look them up on the website and see what the blends are. You can see Robert's notes on them, followed by my tasting notes. So that's the white. And you can do it on the red as well. So there's the blend, Robert's notes, and my notes, and the price also. So we're not going to get into those wines, but let me just say that this St. Romedius red blend is absolutely killer. If you like big red wines, if you like big cabs, this is a great alternative for that for $30. On Simply Corked, we have an offer going through August. So 10% discount on 3 bottles, mix and match. So any 3 St. Romedius bottles will give you 10% off. And Robert is selling them around the country. So California and 38 of the other states that permit shipping into their state. St. Romedius can come to you there. The shipping rates is a flat $20, whether you order 1 bottle, 3 bottles, 6 bottles, or 12 bottles. It's $20 to ship. So I honestly, I can't think of any reason to buy less than 6 bottles personally. So there's 5 wines. You could do a little mix of 6 different wines. Try 1 of each and then double up on the one that particularly fits your fancy, or just go do a whole mixed case. Whatever you want. I really recommend giving the St. Romedius wines. Thanks, Robert.
No, well, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad that COVID doesn't stop us from tasting wine.
Absolutely. And you're in your front patio. I'm in my backyard. We did well with no overhead planes or lawnmowers or such in our 15 minutes of chatting. So
right, exactly. Cool. Well, thanks so much. And if anyone ever has questions, any contact info for the winery or on through Simply Corked is directly to me. I'm happy to, if people want to know pairing or anything like that, I'm more than happy to answer.
Absolutely. So these orders are going straight to Robert, and then Robert will contact you through Simply Corked, and then you can start a relationship, and we greatly encourage that. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, take care. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.